Okay. Hello. This is Sid and Millie Chats. I'm Sid,
I'm Millie.
and we invite you to be a fly on our wall today. We watched the Manchester United versus
Tottenham Hotspur.
Tottenham game today.
Yeah.
It was unfortunately a 4-3 loss for Manchester United.
Facts, yeah.
What are your takeaways from that game today, Millie?
Yeah. Initial thoughts, obviously frustrating to lose. Frustrating to get knocked out of the domestic cup, the EFL Cup. And yeah, I think there were a lot of kind of lapses in the structure and what United was trying to accomplish, on the day. And yeah, those challenges just made it really difficult to play. Tottenham is a good team for sure, but at the end of the day, in the first half, United was pretty dominant with possession, pretty dominant with control of the game. We were doing a good job winning the ball back in the midfield, but for whatever reason, we just weren't really dangerous. I mean, obviously, we saw Ahmad get dropped from the 11, which is kind of expected with how many games there are in this period. Obviously, certain players are going to have to rest. Certain players will have to get more opportunities. But yeah, in the first half, we United didn't have a single shot on target, and that's a big issue if you have that much of the ball, but you're not actually creating those chances.
Right.
So that was a little bit frustrating because there were some opportunities where Eriksson was in good positions, where Bruno put good balls into dangerous areas, but just nothing really came of those instances. And those moments make a big difference in big games because you're not going to get a ton of those opportunities.
Right. So we were more we had higher possession of the ball versus actually creating the opportunities that we needed to score.
Yeah, exactly. We had a lot of the ball, but we just weren't massively dangerous. There were two balls that Bruno hit that went literally right across the 6-yard box that were brilliant balls, but at that moment in those opportunities, we just weren't there to get on the ends of those. And then obviously Christian Eriksen had two pullback opportunities that got blocked by defenders. So a little bit unlucky, but again, when we set up a chance, we've got to try to hit the target. So that obviously was was a little bit disappointing. And then when you look at the goals that we conceded, it's never looks good to concede 4 goals in any, despite making a few changes. The goals that we conceded were just not good enough.
I agree. Because who scored goals today?
Well, for us, we had Xerxes score our first one, assisted by Bruno. Literally, Xerxes, I mean, for me, was one of the main keys to changing the game. Hoyland had a decent game, but again, just didn't really have the opportunities to be dangerous. But Xerxes came on, got the first shot on target for United of the game with his header that had to be saved. That was literally the first shot, and it came after 50, almost 60 minutes into the game. So again, that's not something we want to see replicated in the future.
Not a great look.
No, we've got to be shooting. Bruno's got to be shooting. We've got to be being dangerous.
Yeah, taking the shots.
Yeah.
That's really all it is. Someone's just got to take the shot.
Right. We can't walk it into the goal.
Yeah.
It's obviously not going to happen like that. So anyway, Xerxes had the first shot and the first goal. He, they also made a mess of it. The play he scored on, they were trying to play out of the back. Short pass got intercepted by Bruno, and Bruno was able to toe poke it across.
Wow, nice to see that shoe on the other foot.
Right.
A short pass out of the goal.
Right, yeah, I feel it's usually us. United making a mistake. No, that's a great point.
We have seen that a few times.
Literally, we have.
A frustrating situation when you're on the other side of it. Yeah.
So frustrating.
But that's great for us.
I know. Well, we had a couple goalkeeping errors also, but But
Yeah.
but anyways.
For our goals, we're talking about
Yeah.
Manchester United's goals, right?
Yeah, exactly, facts. So yeah, Xerxes at the right place, right time, tapped it home.
Love that.
Good assist for Bruno. Our second goal was basically the same thing. They chose to go backwards on a set piece. Ahmad put heavy pressure on the keeper, ended up blocking the keeper's clearance, and that was how we scored our second goal. And then
Ahmad scored the second goal.
Yeah.
Okay.
So again, another key substitution.
Of course.
It's just that Ahmad is probably a player that is gonna have to play in every game. Like as much as that may be tough because of like injuries, because of the minutes that he's gonna have to play. Like I understand that, but there are certain players that probably need to start, and then if you're worried about their fitness and you wanna conserve their well-being, then you sub them off early.
Right.
But Ahmad is a key for this team. I think Ahmad himself has made that very clear. So I think hopefully today, after this performance, Ruben will start to realize that Ahmad is someone that probably just needs to be on the field.
Yeah.
So Ahmad was again massively instrumental in changing the game. Comes out, tons of pressure on the ball, very dangerous, creates dangerous opportunities, and got himself another goal by just pressuring the keeper who, whatever.
Love that.
And then the third goal was the legend himself, Johnny Evans, getting a goal. I mean, I scored off of a set piece, off the corner kick.
Okay.
I kid you not, like it's hard to believe I've been watching like Rashford now for almost a decade.
I know.
To think about that. I've been watching Johnny Evans since I was a child. Since I Johnny Evans was a youth player with like the legends like Ferdinand, like Vidic. He was playing. He was supposed to be their replacement. So this is like United from the early 2000s. That Johnny,
So like 20 years.
basically, yeah, the better part of 2 decades.
Yeah.
That Johnny Evans is still scoring goals for Manchester United. It's insane because that was like a whole Sir Alex thing. So Sir Alex brought in Johnny Evans, and he was, I guess we had PK at a time, but his real target was, my guy from last season, Rafael Varane, or from the last couple of years, while he was here. So Sir Alex's goal was to have Johnny Evans and Varane replace Ferdinand and Vidic at Man United to be the center back duo that would obviously dominate the league for years. But unfortunately, Sir Alex didn't get the backing that he wanted at that time, and so we had other key guys. But yeah, so it's crazy, I guess, seeing Johnny Evans still playing, still like scoring goals, still contributing.
Yes.
So that.
I love that.
Yeah. So good for him.
show out,
Yeah. So
yeah.
he got his goal, but pieces. See you next time. So yeah. So Johnny Evans got the third goal. And I mean, it was an exciting game of football. There were a lot of chances. It was back and forth. There were a lot of I don't know. It's definitely fun to watch. But at the end of the day, the United, we almost need to take the first half, that possession, that dominance, and then again, when you mix in players like Ahmad into that, we almost finally got that complete performance. Then you mix in the possession and the dominance, but then you have the attacking edge.
100%.
And that earns us 3 goals.
Yeah, it's such a massive pivot as soon as Ahmad was subbed on, and who else was subbed on? Was Euro subbed on? Because I feel like
he actually started today. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Today was one of his first starts, which was good to see.
I didn't really see that much.
No, I know. But yeah, so Euro did start. I mean, defensively, there are some guys who probably won't be excited when it's film day. They won't want to watch their performance back, and you got to feel for those guys. The keeper being one of them, Martinez being another. We just gotta. I think it's just maybe, I don't know, maybe lacks in lapses in like concentration, so to speak. But, poor clearance, a save that needs to be pushed out of the box, not back into the danger zone. Problems with marking again, kind of off of the second-hand play off of another set piece. They scored directly from a set piece. So it's just like those are still like little moments, but they add up. It becomes a bigger thing, right? Like, obviously we weren't really doing this when Ten Hag was in charge, when he was in office. But at the end of the day, like if we had like been having these combos at that time, like we would have, like it's a similar story. It's a similar story of, oh, we played well for 70 minutes, but we've lost the game because of bad mistakes and bad decision making. And not creating enough opportunities and missing big chances, right? Like these are all stories we've heard before. This is what we just experienced. We're 8 games in now. We're starting to get along in the process, and some of these, like, coming off of the Man City win, we kind of, I don't know, I personally was kind of expecting a little bit more, like a little bit more fight from the lads, a little bit more energy, a little bit more of that we just beat the previous champions energy brought into the game, but we didn't really embody that.
Right. Do you think that a loss like this, was there anything to say about like the formation, anything in terms of like the manager, like Ruben's part in the game, like how, I guess like the subs, the starting lineup, that you would probably have something to say about.
Well, I mean the subs again ended up being like massively influential, definitely changed the game, but I mean I think from seeing the starting lineup, seeing how the game was kind of playing out before our eyes, today felt like we didn't get it quite right. It felt like the call wasn't quite right today. The team was set up well, and it's not that United played poorly, but I think that we weren't set up to hurt them. You know what I mean? Like there's just too many opportunities where we're in the corner of their 18-yard box, and our attacking player who's dribbling at one of their defenders is Dallo. And it's like, Dallo is a right-footed outside back playing a left wing-back position. So when Dallo is up in the attack, he's on his weaker left foot. So the cross he's serving in, whether he's going to be able to beat that defender, he's on his weaker left foot, and he's an outside back. And it's like there were multiple times in the first half where Dallo is our highest player and is looking for an attacking option, right? And in our previous game, we said it so many times, Dallo, please don't shoot, pass, right? But it's like Dallo is being our most dangerous attacking player from the left side of the field right now as a right-footed player. It just doesn't make sense for him to be in the position he's in. He's right-footed. He needs to be on the right side of the field. Like, I don't understand. It happened under Ten Hag, right? It happened somewhere in that managerial period where Dallo somehow got transitioned into the left back. And I know Mazraoui is world class. Mazraoui is phenomenal. So maybe those two should be in direct competition, either for that right role or exactly what you just said. Switch them. Yeah. Because Mazraoui can do it anyway, for sure. But I just think right now, it's interesting too because Ruben mentioned playing players to their strengths.
Yes.
Right now, there's not a single person on that coaching staff that could look me in the face and tell me that they're playing Diego Dallo to his strengths right now. They'd be lying if they said that. Absolute. It's not right. So I think that is going to be a real area of improvement in this game. Like, we've not set Dallo up for success. He's been one of our most consistent players. He's a good defender, massively athletic. We know what he can offer, and he's been played out of position for the better part of a year now.
Yeah.
At what point do we think about Dalot and think about where he's best suited? As a right back, Dalot scores goals. He puts in great crosses. He got the assist to the goal of the year last year. Garnacho won the award.
Yes, for the bicycle kick.
Yeah. Garnacho won the award.
And Dalot was the assist.
Dalot got the assist, playing on his more comfortable right side of the field.
Yeah.
It's where he belongs. Any player who says that they, are just as comfortable on their left as they are on their, or just as comfortable on their weak foot as their dominant foot, it's not true.
Yeah.
There's very few players who are able to do that.
Interchangeable like that.
Their feet, it is. So I know that Dalot, every time he receives the ball, is fighting the urge to use his right foot.
Right.
But who is on the right side?
The defender.
You said it. So he's cutting into defense.
Yeah.
So every time for him to get space, he has to use his weaker left foot. We're not setting him up for success. And then we're asking him to use his weak left foot and serve a good ball into Højlund.
It's just not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. And then when he comes in the inside, we're crowding up the midfield. Now Bruno doesn't have as much space.
Right.
Eriksen doesn't have as much space.
It compounds.
It brings that defender inside even. So there's just like those little things like that where it's just like, we've seen this now for multiple games, and it's probably time to try something else. I mean, we're leaving, you're quite literally leaving Marcus Rashford out of the team.
Asking about Mark.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Hit me with it.
Because I was just going to say, like, we obviously, you mentioned it many times, that there was a missing presence on the field.
Yeah.
Obviously, like you were just saying, Rashford.
Yeah. And I think this would have been the perfect game to bring Rashford back in. I mean, whatever is going on at the club needs to be sorted out immediately because it's hurting the team.
Yeah.
You've got a player who is already in the top 15 all-time goal scorers at the club. Come on, man. Put him on the field. It's crazy to me. It's so many times when Dalot was at the corner of the 18 box today, and I was thinking to myself, man, if that was Rashford.
Yeah.
But instead, it's Dalot, one of our best defenders, in an attacking opportunity. You know what coaches would ask me as a defender when you're high up the pitch sometimes? Hey, is your nose bleeding? Why are you so high up the pitch? Right? Like, go get back where you belong. Go and defend.
The nose bleeds.
Exactly. Right? Yeah. But like, it is a real thing. Like, you do feel a little like lost up there. Not that outside backs are not good for a couple goals here and there. But if we're looking for Dalot to be our top assister and creator from the left side of the field, it's just not going to happen. And that is me saying that, acknowledging that Dalot is one of the best defenders that we have at the team. His athleticism, it's great. He's a key player for the team, but not out of position. He needs to be where he plays best, which is on the right side of the field, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been watching it for a year and a half, and we've been watching him struggle since Ten Hag made that transition. And I'm honestly relatively surprised to see that Ruben is carrying suit with that. Malacio is healthy.
Right, like, does Dalot have any say in that?
I mean, I feel like for most players, most people just want to play.
Yeah, wherever, you're going to go on the field, all right. Put me in, coach.
Yeah, put me in. I will run until my heart, like, lungs explode. That should be the mindset, especially when you're putting on, like, the United jersey. Like, that should be the mindset. I will run until I pass out. Like, it be all end all.
Yeah, period.
So yeah, that's kind of the mindset you hope everybody is going in with, regardless of what position they're playing. But yeah, I think like you said, like, the missing piece in the first half today was an attacking presence, and I think that it was missed. And I mean, say whatever you will, whatever it is, like, I refuse to adhere to some of the narratives like I've seen and heard, like, we're not going to talk about quote-unquote off-field behavior for a person who is literally feeding starving children in his country whilst the government wasn't. You know, like this is someone who's already shown. There's a reason he's got the MBE before his name. You know, there's a reason he is redeemed in such high regard throughout like society. You know, he's done more than most footballers. And again, talking about Marcus Rashford, done more than most footballers have off the field. So for them to even bring in his character into this, it's almost like disgusting.
It's disrespectful.
Yeah, we're making cuts to the backroom staff and their bonuses and cutting the steward's pay and doing things like that.
But Marcus Rashford is the problem.
Yeah, I refuse. I refuse to listen to that. Got to, because you talk about what embodies the spirit of Manchester United. What embodies that more than a kid that was born and bred right there in the city, raised in the city, grew up playing for the club, has made it through the ranks at the club, has played with some of the legends of the club. Michael Carrick, he played alongside some players that are redeemed as legends of this club. Watch obviously would have been involved with them growing up as well.
Of course, yeah.
So, you know, you think about like what the soul of the club really means. That's a player who embodies that. That's what we need to do. If we want to talk about form, we want to talk about like performances, then okay, we can definitely sit down and agree that certain people haven't performed up to what we know they're capable.
Yeah, nobody's gonna lie about it.
Absolutely not. But what we're not gonna do is create a scapegoat situation where a player who cost the club $0 in a transfer fee, a free homegrown player who has scored over 100+ goals for the club. My college coach texted me this today actually, which was crazy because I wanted to make sure I said it. And it was that Marcus Rashford for Manchester United, here's his company of Premier League goals. He's in the top top 7 all time for Manchester United in just the Premier League. Listen to his company. Wayne Rooney, biggest club legend that in existence. Ryan Giggs, won't say too much on him because of his domestic problems off the field, but another very well recognized Manchester United legend. Paul Scholes, redeemed as one of the best midfielders who have ever played the game of football. Ruud van Nistelrooy, we just had him as a former manager. Unbelievable player, legend of the game, legend for Manchester United. Cristiano Ronaldo, one of the GOATs of the modern era of football.
Most like well-known names in football.
In
one of
world,
them.
Yeah, right. And then last on the list, Marcus Rashford. On the list, last on the list, Marcus Rashford. So think about that company he's in. Mm-hmm. That is Man United royalty in that list. Rooney, Scholes, Van Nistelrooy, Cristiano Ronaldo, and then Rashford. That's a list he's on. You can't tell me that a player that's on that list with those players I just named doesn't deserve to be in your team sheet.
Please.
Come on. Give me a break. Give me a break. I can't. What did he do? Slap him? I mean, come on. Like, there's just... But unless it was something like that, get that guy on the team. Get that guy on the pitch. Because you don't put up 0 shots on target in the first half of a game whilst one of your best forwards is watching the game at home on his TV.
I know.
Give me a break.
Sad.
We've gone through this saga too many times before. We saw Ronaldo leave out of the nonsense. We've seen Sancho now leave and go to a rival club on some nonsense. I won't sit idly by and let another good player leave this club holding their head because they're not as respected as they should be.
Yeah, 100%.
So, just wanted to bring emphasis to this. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah,
so
very undeserved hate for him.
Yeah, someone who's literally embodied, that club. United has a long, prolonged history of the academy and promoting players from the academy. And Rashford was in a time period, a huge transitional time period for the club. And in a lot of ways helped the club get through some of its darkest days. And so I think that does need to be at least acknowledged and recognized, and at least respected.
Yeah, absolutely.
At the end of the day, Rashford's contract goes till 2028.
Wow.
If history has and will perform for the club, so they've just got to sort whatever this nonsense is out.
Bring him back.
Yeah, but with 0 shots in the first half on target, we need all the attackers we can get. So let's pull them back into the lineup, because we didn't have enough shots on target to be acting like we can be leaving forwards out the group. So just for fun, just to prove a point. So
out of spite or something.
And I mean by no means, like, I know that Rashford has a hand in that as well. Like, he also has the responsibility to keep scoring goals, to get his assists, to like put in that effort and really show that he wants to die for the badge. And there are those of us who see his effort and acknowledge that. But part of it, everything is always a two-way street. So if he puts in the effort, he puts in the grind.
Give him some grace.
Yeah, I think so.
Definitely.
So yeah, that was kind of the whole long tangent on Rashford.
Yeah, important though. It's important to talk about,
No, you're facts.
They are people. At the end of the day.
Yeah, facts. And I mean, like, are human beings first before they are footballers.
Yeah. People forget that.
Yeah. And to play football at that level, you're in a small, like, 0.0001% of the population who's able to play a sport at that level.
I know.
So it's just like, it's interesting how, like, everyday people who have never clipped the ball in their life, have never taken a shot under pressure.
So easy to hate from far away.
Yeah.
From like that guise of like ignorance.
Yeah.
What are your final thoughts on the day, Emily?
Yeah, I guess my final thoughts would be, overall, still a lot to be desired from the group. I think the formation looks good at times, but there's still a lot of work that goes into it, and still a lot of work of figuring out the right pieces to the puzzle. I think getting knocked out of a domestic cup will also be a little bit humbling for the squad. That we love watching a more exciting team, but we also still need to be getting results and still be looking a little bit more dominant in some areas. I think, like, coming out of the second half, giving up a goal within 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Like, these are areas that, we definitely need to improve. But I think overall, again, we see the brand of football that Ruben is trying to instill. We see the dominance, we see the statistics are positive. More shots, not more on target, but more shots in general, slightly more possession, more passes into the final third. But again, I would be very interested in comparing the first half statistics versus the second half statistics, especially once those substitutions were made. Because once Ahmad came on, when Xerxes came on, it allowed more of those incisive passes.
Yes.
We were making more runs into the box, more dribbles into the box. So substitutions ended up being key again. But I would also argue, do we need to be flipping the players so much? We know the players that are hot right now. We know that Ahmad is in form. We know that Mainu is phenomenal and is going to be probably one of the best midfielders to bless the game of football. So sometimes I think to myself, maybe these guys should just play.
Yeah.
But again, it's a League Cup. Maybe that's what Ruben was thinking. Maybe he wants to focus the energy towards the Premier League.
Right.
Focus the energy towards the Europa League. So if that is the case, fair enough.
Throwaway game.
Yeah.
But I feel like also these are still just growing pains.
Yeah.
The new manager, new system, like they're still working out these little kinks here and there, and it's not gonna be perfect every time. Gonna like have those games where you kind of revert back to maybe the form that you don't want to see from the last manager.
Right.
Like, again, this is still game 10 under Ruben.
Yeah.
Like,
it's very early.
It's early, so I feel like these are things that they'll work out over time.
Yeah, we just have to hope so.
Yeah.
We just have to hope that things keep changing and keep heading in the right direction, and hopefully Ruben can make those necessary strides with the team without needing a scapegoat to fall on the knife for the rest of the team. So that was something that kind of, I don't know, I don't want to say it like killed my enthusiasm a little bit, but the treatment of Rashford. So I think I'll be watching the situation very closely and watching how Ruben handles it as well, and paying close attention to that. Because again, like, you know, Rashford, young black kid, grew up in Manchester. You know, we're literally the same age. I've been watching him since he first made his debut, and he's been with, played with, served under, you know, some pretty heavy hitting legendary managers, as well as some former Man United legends, who have all backed him. So yeah, I just find it, you know, interesting that this has been the kind of change in the narrative since he scored 3 goals in 3 starts at the beginning of Ruben's era. So I think overall, there are no alarm bells going off. Like you said, it's definitely still growing pains, but I do have an eyebrow raised over this Marcus Rashford situation. My final thoughts are just going to be, it's early. You said it best. There are growing pains. There are things to improve, and let's hope that in the Premier League and in Europe we see those improvements. And let's hope that in those leagues as well we see a little bit less rotation, a little bit more trust in the key players that we know are key players. That would be my key takeaways. Let's trust the guys we know can get the job done and try and build the system around them.
Absolutely.
It's just
that's what you need. You need to kind of strengthen and lift up your best players. You know,
you build a team.
This is like the highest level of competition.
Those would be my final thoughts. There are things to improve. We've got definitely some things to work on, but overall, like, there are growing pains, and we've got to continue to be patient and trust in the process and trust in some of the key players that we're seeing break through. Big teams are gonna show up in big games. So we showed up against City, fell short against Tottenham. Let's see what's next on the weekend. So
nice. Love that, Millie. But those were our final thoughts. Those were our thoughts on the Manchester United versus Tottenham game today. We appreciate you watching all the way through if you're still with us.
If you made it this far, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.